Hey guys, it's Chase here with Star Tutors again. With the SAT coming up this Saturday, I wanted to give you guys an inside look how to take one section at least. We'll try to get one section out of the way before the test comes up. But for anybody that's not taking the test, no worries at all. This is a glimpse into how I personally would take the SAT No Calculator math section. That's the third section. And it gives you a kind of a glimpse as to what the concepts are going to look like, how I would work through the concepts personally. But more importantly, and before we get going with the actual test, one of the things I want to show you guys is the scoring as it relates. So the scoring as it relates to the SAT No Calculator section, and more specifically to the SAT Math section as a whole. So one of the things I want to point out to you guys is that on the SAT test, don't forget that there are two sections, and both sections equate to the overall 800 score. So as an example, if you look down here in this column, and I've circled it already here, but if you look down to this 58, right, and the 800 score, this is practice test number 7, by the way, and I'm going to do practice test number 6 just in case you guys thought that I already looked at the answers beforehand. In any case, this 58 here corresponds to the total number of math questions between both the no calculator section and the calculator section. 20 on the no calculator, 38 on the calculator section. But what you'll notice is if there's 20 questions on the no calculator and 38 on the calculator, and they're all worth the same amount of points, the calculator portion, right, calculator portion is worth 2/3 of the overall score, and the no calculator is worth 1/3. The reason that's important is because with the no calculator section first, if section 3 and calculator section 4, then if you don't feel good about the no calculator section, that's okay. You gotta bounce back because the last section is actually more important than the no calculator section. The SAT does this on purpose. They put the no calculator section first because we're so used to technology now. They're seeing how students respond to no calculator versus calculator. So it's something that's very, very important to recognize before starting the test. It will give you a certain sense of calm. If you didn't feel great about the no calculator section, you can still make up for it in a much bigger way on the calculator section. So I wanted to start with that before we get going on the test. So I'm going to open this up, practice test number 6. Okay. So this is practice test number 6 from the SAT official website. We'll post the link so that you guys have a sense as to what the test is looking like, or you can follow along, I should say. But in any case, I'm going to set the timer. Owen's going to split screen us here, and we're going to set the timer for you guys as well, which we'll be taking in the bottom right-hand corner. Give you guys a sense as to where I am and how fast I need to be moving. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so if we're looking at the test, we get our formula sheet. You'll always get that on the no calculator section. Let's take a look here. Okay, so it says Salim wants to purchase tickets from a vendor to watch a tennis match. The vendor charges a one-time service fee. T equals 15N plus 12, represents the amount. Let's see, 15N, let me pull up my calculator. Okay, so 15N plus 12 is the total amount. What does 12 represent in the equation? So 12 represents T9 will pay for N tickets, T dollars, the price of one ticket in dollars, the amount of the service fee, the total amount in dollars, Sim will pay for one ticket, the total amount in dollars, Sim will pay for any number of tickets. The amount of service fee, right, because it charges a one-time service fee. When there's no ticket sold, if this N was 0, we'd still have a service fee of $12. So the amount of a service fee in dollars. Okay, that's number 1. Let's go down to number 2. A gardener buys 2 kinds of fertilizer. Fertilizer A contains 60%, 40%. Let's see. So 60 and 40, 240 pounds of filler, where X is the number of pounds of fertilizer A and Y is the number of fertilizer B. Okay, so we'll just say 0.6 times X because that's fertilizer A, plus 0.4 Y because that's fertilizer B and that's 40%, is equal to 240. So let's just find that in our answer choices. 0.6X, 0.4Y. The answer is once again B. Okay, let's keep going. Number 3 up here says, what is the sum of the complex numbers 2 plus 3i and 4 plus 8i, where I is equal to the square root of -1? Well, on this one, guys, because we're not dealing with I squared terms, which we know is equal to -1, we can just say 2 plus 3i plus 4i plus plus 4 plus 8i. I'm just going to erase that because we're looking for the sum. Right, so we get, let's see, we get 6 plus 11i. We don't want to multiply those, guys. Don't forget that we don't want to multiply because we're just looking for the sum. Number 6 says, let's see, we're doing well on time. Number 6 says 4x squared minus 9 equals px plus t times, in which the p and t are constants, which of the following could be the value of p. Okay guys, remember that we have two perfect squares here, 4x squared minus 9. If I would have given you x squared minus 9, that would have been easily represented as x plus 3 times x minus 3. Same thing applies here because 4 is also a perfect square. But rather than saying just 1x, right, we're going to say 2x minus 3 times 2x plus 3. That gives us the perfect squares. So we're looking for the value of p. P and t are constants, so p looks like it's equal to 2a. Great, let's keep going, guys. We're doing well on time. That's great. One of the things that you'll find, guys, is as you move through the test, the earlier problems are easier, so we want to make sure we try to make up some time if we're planning to get to the harder problems. If we're not planning to get to the harder problems, and I'll talk about that as we keep moving forward, then we're going to either guess strategically, but we're going to make sure that we see all of the easiest problems first. Okay? So the next question says, which of the following is the graph of the equation y equals 2x minus 5 in the xy plane? So right off the bat, we can eliminate b because this is a positive slope. Okay, we know that it crosses the y-axis at -5 because that's the y-intercept. So again, b is off because it's negative. C does not cross the y-axis. And this is too shallow of a slope, nor does it cross the y-axis at -5. So without even knowing anything, if I just know my standard y equals mx plus b equation and I understand slope and the y-intercept, which are m and b, I'm in great shape. I can answer that question, and again, I've made up some time. Okay, number 6 says if x equals 2/3 y and y equals 18, what is the value of 2x minus 3? So this is a very easy problem to mess up. We just want to make sure that we're moving systematically through it. So we're going to plug in our values. If x equals 2/3, okay, and I'm going to plug in 18 here just to make sure I have it. 2/3 times 18 means that x is equal to 12. And now we have to go back and find so remember guys, they're gonna put 12 because they want you to make a decision. They're seeing how focused you are. X is equal to 12, but they're looking for 2x minus 3. So we get 24 minus 3 is equal to 21a. But answer choice C is a really easy answer choice to select. And we wanted to make sure that we try to avoid that at all costs, I suppose, right? Sorry, I went the wrong way here. Let's see. Number 7 says a bricklayer uses the formula N equals 7LH to estimate the number of bricks N needed to build a wall that is L feet and H feet high, which the following correctly expresses L in terms of N and H. Okay guys, whenever we get one of these problems, these are actually easier than they initially look. All we have to do is say N is equal to 7L times H, and then we have to go through our operations to get L by itself. So the first thing that we want to do, it's actually easier. We can just divide by 7H here. Divide by 7H, right? Because now we have L is equal to N over 7H. We just divide those both out. Let's see which one of those is equal. N. Let's make sure we get that one. Yep, so number 7, the answer choice is C. Let's keep moving. Number 8. The table above shows the values of the functions w and t. Great. For which of the value is w of x plus t of x equal to x? Okay, so basically what we're looking for is if we add these two equations together, right, which of these gives us the value? So it looks like -1 plus -3 does not equal 1. 3 plus -1 is equal to 2. So for each value of x is equal to 2, right? If we did that, we could keep going with these. 4 plus 1 is not equal to 3. 3 plus 3 is not equal to 6. -1 plus 5 is not equal to 5. So we know the answer is B. Let's keep going. Okay, number 9 says if x plus root 9 equals root 64, what is the value of x? Okay guys, this is really, really important. So we can say the square root of x, and now we start to see that questions are getting a little bit harder, right? Square root of x plus the square root of 9 is equal to the square root of 64. I like to get the x by itself no matter what. So if we get root x, right, and we subtract the 9, we can say that root 64 minus 9, minus the square root of 9 is equal to root x. We'll say root x then is equal to 8, right, minus 3. So we get root x is equal to 5. We're going to square both sides, so x then is equal to 25. Okay, so guys, hopefully that makes sense. The answer choice then for number 9 is C. Okay, so again, we're good there, I think. Number 9, yep. Okay, so we've answered all those questions. So guys, when I go through this test, because I know that it's an order of difficulty, I always try to go through the first 10 questions and then go directly to the student-produced responses where you actually have to grid in the answers. The reason for that is because the grid in answers are actually, it restarts the easiest to hardest difficulty. So I know that if I get through 10, I've gotten through some pretty easy mid-level questions on the SAT, no calculator math section. And then if I jump to number 16, I know I've restarted on that difficulty. So 16 is actually, in all likelihood, going to be easier than, say, number 12. Okay? So or number 11 for that matter. So let's keep going. Number 10 says, Jamie is preparing for a bicycle race. His goal is to bicycle an average of at least 280 miles per week for 4 weeks. He bicycled 240 miles for the first week, 310 for the second, 320 for the third. Which inequality can be used to represent the number of miles could bicycle on the 4th week to meet his goal? Okay, so we need to say, let's see, we need to say 240, right, plus 310, plus 320, right? That gives us the average of those first 3 weeks. And then plus x, okay, is equal to, let's see, would that give us, right, is greater than or equal to 280? No, because this one, guys, again, if we did all this, this would give us some value pretty close to 280. We don't want to we don't want to re-add that sum, right? So what we really have to do is we have to do this out, all of these equations out, because what we'd want to have is we don't have this divided by 4. Let's see, we don't have this divided by 4 to give us our answer. Let me make sure that works. Oh, nope, I'm just kidding. We have to have the answer choice D, because this is the only one that divides, that makes this an average of all. So answer choice D. That's kind of a weird average question, but if we divide this out, then those 4's go away, and now we have our average on this side, and we're looking for that to be greater than 280 miles, at least 280 miles per week. So answer choice, number 10 is actually answer choice D, even though I did that in a kind of a weird way. It's an average, again, it's an average problem. You just want to make sure that the average number, right, of miles is equal, but in this case, they did it kind of in a weird way. We want to make sure that we have all of the numbers added together, the sum divided by the numbers in the set. There's 4 different weeks, is greater than or equal to the average that we're looking for, which was 280. Okay, so let's keep going. Number 16. So like I said before, I'm going to jump questions. I'm at about, I've done about 10 questions about the 9-minute mark. I want to make sure I get to the easier questions first. So in this case, we have a over b to the 4th equals 16 for positive integers. What is one possible value of b? So again, we get a to the b over 4, okay, is equal to 16 for positive integers. Let's see, what could we do here? We could say one possible value of b would be positive integers here. If we said b was 8, right, and a was 4, yep, so 8. I'm going to say 16 is 8, because 8 divided by 4 is 2. If a is equal to 4, 4 to the second is equal to 16. So I think we got that one right. Again, it shouldn't be too hard because number 16, 16 for the SAT is not supposed to be particularly difficult. Okay, so number 17 says 2/3 t is equal to 5 halves. What is one solution of the equation above? Okay, so all we have to do is multiply this by 3 halves times 3 halves, right? And we get t is equal to 15 over 4. Okay, so t is equal to 15 over 4. Great. Let's go to number 18. Number 18 is really the last one that I want to do before I jump back to number 11 again. Let's go through 18 and then we'll jump back to the multiple choice questions, because now I've gotten some of the easy ones right on the student produced responses. And now I'm going to have to get some of the hard ones right if I get every question right. So I should feel pretty good about number 18. Let's see, 18 says, in the figure above, BD is parallel to AE. What is the length of CE? So we're looking for C to E up here. Okay, guys, 3, 4, 5 right triangles are very, very common on the ACT and SAT. The SAT in this case makes this a 6, right? This is equal to 3, 4. This is a right angle here because it's parallel. 3, 4, 5, but it's 6, 8, 10. We know then if this is 6, 8, 10 and this is 18, that we're in a ratio of 3, right? So this 6, because these are similar triangles. So we know that this is 3 times greater. So we know that, right, this CE is what we're looking for, is 3 times greater because 6 times 3 is equal to 18. So we're looking for 10 times what is equal to CE? That would be 10 times 3, which is equal to 30. So the value of that would be 30, okay? And that would make sense because 18, 24, 30 is also a 3, 4, 5 right triangle, okay? So hopefully all of those make sense for those three. Now I'm gonna come back to number 11 and hopefully I can get some of these right because I know that we only have 25 minutes to complete this section, so we gotta make sure we're moving. Number 11 looks hard to me, guys, so I'm just gonna move on from it. It's not the end of the world if we have to move on from some of these problems. I'm actually gonna start with number 12 because as I was looking at 10, I saw 12 and I knew that I was one that I could probably answer. I feel pretty good about it. So let's see if we can get number 12 right, and if we can, great. If we can't, we'll keep going again. So number 12 looks like on the top we can factor out a 2x, right? We can factor out 2x and we get x plus 3, I believe. Nope, sorry, we get 2x plus 3. And then on the bottom we can also factor out a 2 and we get 2x plus 1. Okay, so these two cancel and we get, let's see, well, I guess would that work? Do we even need to do that? No, because look, guys, this is all on the bottom here, so we wouldn't necessarily want to do that. Let's see, we get 4x, plus 3, we get x minus 2. Guys, let's keep going. We don't want to run out of time here, so we'll come back to that problem. Not a big deal. Let's look at 13. It says in the equation above, t is a constant. The equation has no real solutions. Which of the following could be the value of t? Well, we would say x, right? X is equal to, we can factor out a 2x from that side, so we get x minus 4, right, is equal to t. Guys, all we have to do on this equation is plug in answers. This is a picking answers question. Pick answers, right? If we pick answers here, then we'll know that whether or not this is going to work out. So if we get, let's say, if we get t is equal to 3 as an example, t is equal to 3, factor that out. There's no real solutions. Negative 3, t is equal to negative 3 minus 4. You know what, actually guys, I messed this up. 2x squared minus 4x. Okay, and then I'm gonna say this is equal to negative 3. If this is equal to negative 3, then we get 2x squared minus 4x plus 3, right, is equal to 0. Would that work? Let's see. 2x, 2 times 3. Let's see, 13. Geez, this one's kind of tough, guys. 13. I'm trying to think if this factors. Does not. If we did 1, if we put a negative 1 here, or a positive 1 rather, if we put positive 1 here, would that work? 2 times 1, that would work, right, if t was negative 1. Yeah, the only value that doesn't work here is a, and that's just plugging in numbers, guys. That's kind of a hard question though. Don't feel like, let's keep going because that's a hard question. You have to I always plug in answers to see which one gives me the right answer. But if you can't factor this, which you can't, to get real solutions, these are gonna be imaginary, they don't have a root, and because you don't have a calculator, you can't necessarily plug that in. It would make it a lot easier if you have a graphing calculator. Let's move on from that and come back if we have time, but the answer is A because you wouldn't be able to factor any real solutions. Let's try number 11. We didn't get a chance to really look at it, but the vertex, so the vertex of a parabola above is 0c. Which of the following is true about the parabola with the equation negative a, x minus b. So this would be a shift, right? That would be a shift horizontally. C would shift it up and down. So that would mean that b has to be equal to 0. The vertex is negative bc and the graph opens upward. The vertex is bc and the graph opens downward. The vertex is BC and the graph opens upward. Well, B here, 0, C, there is no shift upward. The vertex then would be BC and the graph would open downward. So the equation B. That's a hard question too though, guys. Make sure as we're going through that, right? Make sure that you guys, as you're going through that, you're understanding why that is. Because they're giving you this equation, this negative ax will flip the graph upside down, and we got to keep moving. but it flips the graph upside down. That's a hard question though, guys. We'll come back to number 12 still. Number 14, let's go to 15 because that just looks a little bit easier. Which of the following is equivalent to? So remember, guys, this would be A plus B over 2 times A plus B over 2. Don't forget, you still have to FOIL this. If we do these two, we get A squared, right? Then we get 2 times 2BA over 2, so A squared plus AB, right? Okay, and then we get B squared times 4, so the answer here is D. That's a hard question though too. Let's see if we can do 14. Number 14 says a laundry service is buying detergent and fabric softener from a supplier. The supplier will deliver no more than 300 pounds on a shipment. Each container 7.3 pounds in each. The service wants to buy at least twice as many containers of detergent. Let D represent the number of containers of detergent, where D and S are non-negative integers. Which of the following system inequalities best represents this situation? Supplier will deliver no more than 300 pounds in a shipment. Is buying detergent and fabric softener. Each container of detergent weighs 7.35 pounds. Each container of shipment fabric softener weighs. The service wants to buy at least twice as many containers of detergent as fabric softener. So fabric softener is here. D represents the number of containers with detergent. So we need to make sure that we have twice as many containers, right? We have to have D is equal to twice as many containers of detergent as fabric softener. So we need to say 2D, let D represent the number of containers of detergent. 2D must be greater than or equal to S, because we want twice as many detergents. So 2D must be greater than or equal to S. Okay, we're on the right track here, guys, because they have this equation mapped out in 2 of our answer choices. So now we have to figure out the other one. We want that we'll deliver no more than 300. So this has to be less than or equal to, and we want to say 7.35 pounds, and each container of fabric softener. So these two need to be separate. This needs, the answer for number 14 needs to be, see, number 4, wait, for 2D, 14. These two need to be separate, but 2D, which time do we have? We have 5 minutes. We should be okay on time. 1.35. D. Service wants to buy at least twice as many containers of detergent as containers of fabric softener. So, you know what, guys? This is wrong. Sorry. This answer choice, these answer choices are off. It's actually, it should be answer choice A, I think, because D must be greater than or equal to 2S, right? Because we have to have twice as many. 2 times the number of so yeah, that's right. Because the number of containers with fabric softener, right? The number of containers with fabric softener, we need 2 times as many of those to equal D. So it's D is greater than or equal to 2S. We have that here. And then this 14.7 here, they're saying they're doubling 7.35. If we already taking care of that with this equation, right? The answer is A here. If we're already taking care of that with this equation, we don't need to re-add that with the next equation. So that's the key with systems of inequalities. If we get this one down, and I think we have now, then this one should be just left normal. 7.35 is in relation to the number of pounds of detergent we need. So the answer there should be answer choice A, I believe. Okay, let's keep going. You guys can see though, at the end of this test, it slowly but surely wears you down. You gotta make sure that you're continuing to stay focused throughout, or it's really, really easy to make a simple mistake. Okay, so this one says how many liters of 0.25%, 25%, must be added to 3 liters of 10% solution to obtain a 0.15 saline solution. Okay, so we have 0.25 x plus 0.1 times 3 is equal to 0.15. Is that right? 0.15. 3x, right? Because we're gonna have, or 3 plus x. Because we need to make sure on this one, guys, that we're talking, this is the total number of liters, right? So we get 0.25x plus, you know what, guys, I'm gonna move on from that one because we're running a little bit low on time here. I wanna make sure that we get a chance to go back to number 12. Points A and B lie on a circle with radius 1. Arc length is pi over 3. What fraction of the circumference of the circle is arc length B? Line of circle. So has a length of pi over 3. Okay, so we know this one's actually easier. 2 pi r, right? We know the circle has a radius of 1, so that means that it's 2 pi times 1, which so that the total circumference of the circle is equal to 2 pi. This arc length is equal to pi over 3. So we're looking for pi over 3, right, as it relates to 2 pi. So what fraction is that? Well, we can say 2 pi here, right? Say pi over 3 times 1 over 2 pi, flip the second number and multiply, right? You didn't think probably that you'd be getting back to that. Those cancel and we get 1 over 6. So it represents 1/6 of the total equation. Let's go back to number 12 because I think that's going to be easier than 19, even if we have to come back to 19. Number 12 says the following equations. I think we'll be able to figure this one out. These ones can't divide. So we're going to have, it's got to be either answer choice C or D here. So 12 says, can that factor? Let's see, 4x squared over 4x plus 2 plus 6x over 4x plus 2. This can factor out 2, right? So we get 2. So we get, guys, for this one, it's got to be C or D because just based on this equation we know, and I only have a minute left, so I'm going to make sure. I'm going to guess answer choice D. Okay, and again, that's somewhat of a guess here, but I think x plus 1 makes more sense. So running low on time, we have to make sure that we're moving through the process. So let's see if we can keep going to the last question. Number 19 was our last one. 0.25 times 0.3 is equal to 0.15 times 3, which is 0.45, plus 0.15x. Minus 0.15x, so we get 0.1x is equal to 0.15, divide by 0.1, divide by 0.1, we get what, 15, so we get x is also equal to 3 over 2, 3 halves, I think. Yeah, so you guys have to set up that equation. We have about 20 seconds left here, so hopefully that's right. 0.15 over 1, if we multiply both of those by 2, we get 3.3 over 0.2, which is 3 halves. I think that's right, but you have to set up that equation. This is an equation that you guys will likely see, and our time is stopped now, so I won't answer any other questions, but I'll just talk a little bit more. Pencils down, right? Apple pencils down. You guys won't have the access to that necessarily. But again, that was the entire test. So I'll tell you what, let's grade this now. We'll make sure that, hopefully we got all the questions right. Number 19, we'll see if this is right, but number 19 you have to set up. Anytime you have a mixture equation, that's how you have to do it, is you have to make sure that the 3 plus x, as you're looking at it on the screen, 3 plus x represents the total amount of liters, and we know that one of them was 3 because that's what we were given. So let's come back up here. Scroll all the way to the top and we'll see how we did. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up the answers here. Give me one sec. So you guys can search this on College Board. If you type this in on Google, all you have to do is type in SAT practice test 6 answers. They have these for the 8 practice tests that are distributed by the SAT. I actually think there's 9 now. So scoring practice test number 6. Click on that. It should be like one of the first ones up in Google. I just typed in SAT practice test answers. So let's go through it. This is from the College Board officially. So number 1 is B. We got that one right. That's great. Number 2 is B. That's great. Number 3 is C. That was right. Nice. Number 4 is A. That's great. Okay. Nice. Got all those ones right. Number 5 is, felt good about this one. So yep, 5 is D. That was right. Number 6 was A, hopefully. 6 was A, that's right. 7, I felt good about this one. Yep, 7 is C, that's great. Number 8 is B, great, got that one right. That's just a sum question. You gotta be careful that it says plus, right? Number 9 is C, got that one right, that's great. Number 10, did we forget this one? 10 is D. 10 is D, great, got that one right. Number 11, I think that should be good. Number 11 is B, great. We're on a roll here, guys. We're cruising, even though we did some of these problems later. Number 12 is D. Great, guys. This is a great example. I didn't even really know how to do number 12, but at least I narrowed it down to C and D because based on this, right, I knew that it couldn't be A. It wasn't perfectly divisible, so it wasn't going to be a perfect breakdown like this. There was definitely going to be some type of fraction. I ultimately went with x plus 1 because of the way that I had even basically set this up. It looked right to be D. It could have been C. I might have missed that question. I really didn't have time to solve for it, as you guys saw there at the end. But at least I had it narrowed down, and I was definitive in crossing out A and B, and I went with my gut, and it was D, and that was the right answer. Number 13 is A. That was correct. Number 14 was A. That's great. I got that one. I saw this, right? Kind of at the end. 15 was D. That was right. 16. I felt good about these early ones, and you guys should too because they're early on in the test. 16 is 8. I said it was 8, but there were multiple answers to this one. But it just looked for one. What is one possible value? So 8 was one of the answers. Number 17 was 15/4. That's right. Number 18 was 30. That one was right. Felt good about similar triangles. Number 19 at the end I felt good about because that's how you typically set up these equations. Yep, 3 halves. 0.15 over 0.1 was 3 halves. That was kind of a last minute math thing. And the number 20 was 1/6, guys. So again, what I want to stress to you guys more than ever is if you search these answers, it's not necessarily that you're going to get every single question right every time, and I don't. To be honest with you, I don't necessarily get every one of these right all the time. It's just really important that you're moving through the test in a systematic way, and hopefully I gave you a sense if you're not going to, there are certain questions that are going to be hard every time. You saw it. I could have very easily gotten number 12 wrong. I guessed correctly on number 12, but that doesn't mean I'm going to guess correctly every time. The key is that I'm moving through the questions and I'm getting every single question that I know how to do. I'm getting all of those right. So even if I did have to guess on 12 on C and D and I missed it, you miss it sometimes. But at least I knew that that was the only one I was definitively guessing on. Every other question I felt pretty good on. And on number 12, I was able to eliminate 2 answers, and that gave me the best chance to get the best score. This time, fortunately, I was able to get all the questions right. But again, that also doesn't equate to the fact that there were only 20 questions here, and like we talked about at the beginning, that's only 1/3 of the overall test for the SAT math section. The other 2/3 are done within the calculator section, so it really is important, even if you don't feel great about this section, it's very important that you regroup and you're able to come back to the calculator with the math with the calculator section, right, and answer all of those questions correctly too, or at least regroup and answer as many questions as you possibly can correctly. Guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it made sense. Please subscribe to our page. Please subscribe to our channel. We'll continue to come up with more content and more videos for you. And as always, check out our test prep programs, www.startutors.net /test prep. We'll post that as well. And then we hope to see you in one of our programs soon. Awesome, guys. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you soon.